Hey, good evening. A nice damp evening, but it's absolutely gorgeous. About 26, 27 degrees. Quite a bit of rain today, which was absolutely lovely for a change. Temperature not too hot. But anyway, the last few days have been really interesting. You can see what's after happening in Europe. One thing I was worried about what was going to happen for a couple of days at Davos. And clearly, again, Trump pulled off an absolute masterpiece. 1,000 times better, I think, than anybody could have guessed. Imagine if you think about Micheál Martin or think about Simon Harris and think about these politicians we have. Extremely low IQs, right? Definitely not intelligent, no doubt about that. I would subscribe Micheál Martin, I guess, and Simon Harris, like the fat kid in the playground that was the bully, just this fat bully, and he'd go along and they punch someone in the stomach and they go along. We all go to school, right? You have the bully in the playground. That's what Micheál Martin is, right? He's just a bully. And of course, the way they played that game for years, they go along and they just intimidate people, hit people, and that's why Micheál Martin, you go along and just don't care, right? They were the bully for years. And all of a sudden, they go on the world stage. And next minute, this other man arrives. And this man turns around and he hits him a haymaker right into the stomach. And he quaves over. Same thing happened to Harris. And they're saying, what happened? What happened to us? Who hit us? It's not meant to go like this, right? You know, we're the ones. This is not the way the game plays. It's played. And of course, they're in shock because of this. The whole New World Order has been ripped apart in the space of the last 24 hours. Completely and utterly destroyed. And I hear people back in Ireland, I deleted even a few people that were on my friends list today, because all they're on about is coming up with, well, Trump, Epstein list, all this craziness, right? Instead of looking at what's actually going on in the world right now. All of a sudden, the United States has pulled back from 67 different entities that they're no longer going to pump money into. And you're talking about hundreds of billions of euros a year that the US was paying and is no longer going to be paying this. So now it's going to be a case of how is Ireland going to be one of these, say 30 countries, right, that are going to pay for the shortfalls of the United States leaving the WHO and all the rest of the entities, 67 of them that the US pulled out of. So for Ireland to pay its fair share on that, it's probably, you're talking about maybe an extra 20 billion a year. And of course they're in shock. They're in absolute shock. Trump got everything he wanted. Typical Trump, right? You know, Trump goes along and he meets someone, and imagine an analogy that he goes along and he says, hey, give me your wallet, give me your jewelry, give me your shoes, right? And the person said, you want my wallet, you want my shoes? And he'd say, well, I'll buy you dinner instead, right? So, which what he was looking for first date. Again, I'm just making an analogy the way his mind actually thinks. And you see these morons that are meant to be intelligent politicians running Ireland, they can't seem to see it. They don't understand the way the whole geopolitical thing works. And of course, they have completely destroyed our country. You see Barclays Bank now leaving Ireland, going to France because of anti-Israeli, anti-Semitic rhetoric coming from the Irish government for years. Barclays Bank gone. Saw it put up there yesterday. Another bank in the north of Ireland, or not a bank, but a company in the north of Ireland, leaving again. They said in a press release the reason they're leaving because of Sinn Féin. Because of Sinn Féin they're leaving, because of the rhetoric that's coming from there. As all these companies leave, and of course as the bills increase for Ireland, how is Ireland going to pay for it? And the answer is there's no way for them to do it. Absolutely no way. For Ireland to pay the money, its share of the money, its fair share of the money that the US is no longer spending, You're probably on the low side 15 billion a year, on the high side about 25 billion a year extra that Ireland would have to pay to keep the new world order going without the United States. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. The reason I'm laughing about this is, the good thing is there's a really good chance, there's light on the end of the tunnel. This could bankrupt the European Union. I hope it does. I really, really hope it does. But there's a really good chance that this is going to bankrupt the European Union. Trump played a blinder. He played an absolute blinder. Got everything he wanted. And of course you can see them. You see the Irish media. Again, I don't know why you even call them media. You see these people that give their opinion on things. Of course they're losing their mind about, Trump didn't play by the rules. We don't speak to our friends like that. Friends? Come on. They have this thing, right, that they're going to have this liberal utopia that they're all going to live under, and that everything is going to be great. That the taxpayers just keep paying more and more money into this, and nothing else is important. But Trump destroyed it. He destroyed it. I mean, the man's a genius. He's an absolute genius after what he just pulled off. I mean, I'll admit it. I was worried with the last few days of build up to this. So what is going to happen? Where would it go? If he made a mistake, this would have been really, really bad. But he played a blinder. I mean, he played an absolute blinder. You have the vast majority of people in these entities in Europe, politicians, NGOs, all this nonsense. And they have this thing, they think they're cleverer than Trump. They actually think they are. Look at Micheál Martin. I mean, he's not capable to teach 7-year-old kids. I mean, the man's an idiot. The man's just an absolute plumbing idiot. That's all he is. You look at Simon Harris. I mean, come on. Come on. Just another man in the closet. Another weak, spineless little man. And, of course, they can't keep their mouth shut. There is over 30 our factories going to leave Ireland. I heard some figures that it's over 45. Again, they weren't confirmed. American corporations are leaving. So the economy is in serious trouble. The amount of debt that the country will have to pay to the World Health Organization and all these unelected bureaucrats is actually on the increase. And of course, they're going to be bringing in less revenue. There's going to be less people working. And of course, AI is going to be part of that. We watched the UK in Davos, and they said that their economy depends on defense, again, which I said the other day, that means war. And the second thing is to finance the Green New Deal. I mean, imagine a country that it's dependent on war, which Britain was kind of, again, war for hundreds of years, I guess. But their economy today, a modern European country, depending on war and financing the Green New Scam. I mean, it is absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. So, yeah, I can't get over it. The thing about the NGOs in Ireland, like, where's the money going to come for them? Remember, someone asked me a question there earlier today, and they were saying, how do we get it into people's heads and explain to people what exactly the NGOs are in Ireland? Most people don't even understand what an NGO is. An NGO is meant to be non-governmental organisation, right? But the problem in Ireland, right, the last referendum in Ireland, what happened? The government told the NGOs if they would not back the government, they would defund them. Google it, you can find it. The Irish government told the non-governmental organisations, vote with the government or they won't get any funding. That is a serious problem, right? It's also illegal for a government, for any democracy or whatever, a government to push an entity and tell them, vote with us or else. And of course, what do? They still voted, but the vast majority of you, the Irish people, came along and you were clever enough to vote against the government. like I said, there is light at the end of the tunnel. For once, I feel like they are. I think that the European Union, what Trump pulled off, the European Union, I think is going to go bankrupt faster than what I thought it would. I think it's going to fall apart. The collateral damage with that is the Irish economy is going to go with it. And, you know, there's tough times ahead for people. People are asking me what my own personal opinion was regarding housing and houses and should they hold, should they sell, should they what? I'd say over the next few months, I think people should seriously think about if they have a lot of equity inside in their home, get it out of it. Because you could see, and probably will see, one of the biggest collapse in housing prices ever in Ireland. That is probably coming. That is probably coming. If you're talking about the amount of these corporations that leave Ireland, in those numbers, the economy will crash. Once the economy crashes, and of course there's less money to give to the fake UGs, and when there's less money to give to those people that are coming into the country, they will leave too. They're only economic migrants. They're there because they have lots of welfare money and so on and so forth. Once the money stops coming into them, they will leave. Quite a few of them will leave. There'll be a glut of, there'll be more houses on the market than what people actually need. And with that, that'll mean the collapse of house prices. I think that's going to happen all over Europe. You know, I don't wish hard times on anyone. And I think it's terrible to see the suffering that's going to come. People are going to lose nearly everything they have because of this. And of course, when that happens, they'll be very fast again to turn around. They'll blame the US or blame someone else for it. Remember, it was Micheál Martin, Buttplug, and Simon Harris that actually did this. Remember, they're the ones that actually did this. Plus Leo Varadkar and others that started this. It's been going on for years. The Irish people continue to elect school teachers, people with a very, very low IQ. And of course, they're the ones that have created this problem, that continue to create it. And of course, that needs to change. And hopefully it will. But again, it is, on a final note, I'm going to just touch base on, I see people again that were on about the whole Epstein thing. Let's be clear about a couple of things, right? The Democrats had that file for 4 years. They've had it for 4 years. There's people on the intel community, Democrats and Republicans, that have full access to the unredacted version of the Epstein files. If there was anything in that about Trump, that would be all over the place. People making any claims that he's this or he's that, total bullshit. If there was, they would have used it against him prior to the last election. That is just, again, people, the Irish government and the Irish media trying to put something in there to get people's minds on what exactly is happening. It's just more, not a smokescreen by the Irish government and the so-called media. I apologise for calling it media, because there's no such thing as the media in Ireland. Remember, the media is the enemy of the Irish people. Politicians, when you see them, I shouldn't say what you should do to them because I get kicked off of this, but you can guess what I was going to say. The media are absolute scumbags. That's all they are. They're puppets for the Irish government. They're no different than the propagandists that were used by the Gestapo during the Holocaust. The Irish media is no different today. What they're going to do, what they're doing to the Irish people, saying that you're bad people because you're worried about what's happening in the country. That is the Irish media. Absolute and utter trash. As for the Garda Síochána, never change my mind about them. Scumbags. Absolute scumbags. And I will repeat it. I'm not saying it should be done to them, but I will repeat it. The only good member of the Garda Síochána is one that is 6 foot under the ground. And I will keep saying that. Again, I'm not asking anybody to do that to them. I'm just saying that, as far as I am personally concerned, the only good member of the Garda Síochána is one that's no longer on this planet, that they're buried 6 foot under. Again, and I will never change my mind or opinion on that till the day I die. They're absolute filth. And that is what has Ireland destroyed. Has Ireland destroyed the corruption from our politicians, from our so-called mouthpieces, the people that identify as media, and pushing the narratives that are totally anti-Irish and out to hurt the Irish people and everything about Ireland. You know, we're an amazing race of people. We're strong. We have survived, think about it, we survived everything. Invasions, wars, we survived everything. We're here today because we have strong DNA, powerful DNA. And we survived this too. The country itself, probably the only way to save it is to bankrupt the country. That is probably the only way to do it. Once you bankrupt the country, all the fake refugees will go back to wherever they came from. There'll be no money for them in Ireland. They will leave. But hopefully people will open their eyes and see what Sinn Féin, Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, People Before Profits, Labour, the Green Party and so on, what they have done to our country. These scumbags, what they've done are carried out acts of treason in our country. Every single last one of those pieces of shit. They've destroyed our countries. And I'm sorry for cursing. I usually don't, so I do apologise. But, like I said I'd make a fast video. I think, for once, there's light at the end of the tunnel. The European Union, it's on its final year, maybe not even that long. I don't think it can survive. The US is doing some trade deals with Hungary, with Poland, and again, you could see the split actually coming from those countries. You could see them actually leaving the European Union. If Ireland had strong enough politicians, they would do the exact same thing. They would also pull out of the European Union. But unfortunately, we don't have strong politicians. We have weak, girly men. Weak, girly men. Half the politicians in the Dáil are a bunch of gay men. Again, we have weak politicians, and that needs to change. And someone told me the other day I was homophobic for saying that. That's okay. Like I said, that's okay. I have no problem. Call me whatever name you like. I stick by it. We need men, strong men, and strong women to run our country. We have enough of lunatics, enough of weak, spineless politicians. We need people that are going to stand up and say they're going to put Ireland first. Ireland for the Irish. And as for everyone else, that's what we need. That's what we have to get. We have to fight and take our country back. But like I said, there's difficult times coming. Really bad times coming. And there's a recession I'd say on the way that Europe hasn't seen in a long time. A recession that we haven't seen in our lifetime. I don't think we've seen it, the recession that is coming. Like I said, what Trump did yesterday to the World Economic Forum and the European Union was a masterclass. Absolutely amazing. He destroyed it. He destroyed the World Economic, destroyed every last bit of it in the space of 2 minutes. Sorry, the pain in my throat. Anyway, thank you. Have a wonderful day and talk to you soon. Bye bye.